boy, today I'm going to show you a really secret build. The reason this build works, I think, is in part because of a glitch, but most of it is completely unreliant to the glitch. So regardless of whether it's glitched or not, I'm going to show you why Nyx is a fantastic frame. If you think she's trash, you have no idea what you're talking about, and it's really embarrassing. You're embarrassing yourself, so stop calling her trash. Sure, she may only have a very specific set of builds. She might not have the most build variety, but there's 52 frames. Do you really need every single frame in the game to do every single thing? Do you really need every frame to do everything when there's so many frames? No, you really don't. So if a frame only has one particular god build, that's fine. There's 52 frames. Go play another fucking frame, you idiot. So let's get into the build and I'll explain everything to you. So it doesn't really matter what weapons you use. You could use whatever primary and secondary weapon you want, whatever does damage, and I would recommend a primer. That's it. You don't really need anything else. The main thing is that you bring dual daggers. I am bringing the Neferi. The Neferi has innate heat on it, so I can just slap corrosive on it and get heat and corrosive and some slash. Now I'm using a near god roll ribbon. For some builds this would be a god roll, but in this particular build we don't really need the finisher attack damage, so therefore it's not a god roll in this specific build. But the main reason we're bringing this, the main thing you need to worry about is bringing a Mars Contempt. Bring any sort of dual dagger thing because we need the teleport range of this, and I'll get to that in a second. But like I said, this is the main weapon you need for the build. There's a dual dagger with this mod on it. That is the only real requirement for weapons. Now we're using basically a heavy attack build. If I have to explain to you what a heavy attack build is, this build is probably not for you because you're probably not, you probably don't have enough shit in the game to get to that point yet. So before we go any further, I'm just going to take a very quick look at our companion. Today we're using the Duriga, aka the balloon. I am bringing this because of calculated shot, 70-meter shooting range. So because of the 70 meters, most bots have 30 meters. I want 70 meters because we're going to be in a safety zone. We're super quarantined. We're so safe. Additionally, we are bringing it because of the synth set. If you're unaware of what the synth set does, then I'm sorry. I'm not going to explain it. You should really just like have the wiki open and use your brain. We're using arcane coil because it's going to spread a little bit of statuses, but it's not really too important. We're mostly using it for the 70 meters, like I said. And then that's pretty much why we're doing that. This is my weapon on the Duriga is spreading gas, cold, impact, and puncture. And it's a god. This is actually a god roll ribbon. You know, of course it could be a better neg, but we're not using this for damage, so it's completely inconsequential that this is reduced damage to Gungnir. It doesn't matter at all. I would consider this an absolute supreme god roll. So. All right, so that's all that, right? That's all the extraneous factors. So now let's take a look at the frame herself. So I only have 3 archon shards on her. That's fine. If the 2 extra slots would be cast speed if I had them, but if I can't fucking have them, thanks DE. I'm gonna go personally harass DE Rebecca's personal Instagram page because I don't have something in game, right? So we're using ability strength. This is the only imperative thing you have to have. You have to have these 2 ability strength archon shards, or at least the 20%, right? You can get it through other means, what have you, but we need those. The ability duration, this is for convenience. Without this, we'd be at 95 duration. So why is that? Why do we need that? Why do we need that extra strength for it? Because our only strength mod is a Mars Hatred. We need a Mars Hatred for several reasons. We need it for the heavy attack so that we can have 30 meters dash, and we need it for, again, so that we can reach full strip. This allows us to get to full strip. Other than that, we don't really care about strength. We just need to get full strip from our psychic bolts. This will lead me into the 1 flex slot of the build. The pacifying bolts is the flex slot of the build. This gives us 3 extra force bolts, and it allows us to have extra crowd control because stuff is confused for longer. Now, if you were to swap that out, some people prefer to use Chaos Sphere. I personally don't. I think I have so much energy on this build that I could just recast my Chaos, so it doesn't really matter, but to each their own, right? And now we're going to go back into the helmet ability that we have. Lycat's Hunt. This is extra super special on this build because I think that this is a perfect helmet for this build. There's not many frames where I would say Lycat's Hunt is the perfect helmet ability for them. Sure, it could be good on Excalibur, it could be good on certain frames, but there's none besides Nyx I would say is perfect. It's perfect on this build, partly because we're using the Amar set so that we can dash. We can use that dash attack through the heavy attack 30-meter range to kill stuff. So that can also get headshots. So this can allow us to drop health orbs and energy orbs. So either way, if it drops a health orb or an energy orb, we have equilibrium to change it to what we need it to be, right? And then we also have prime flow so that we're always topped off. Right, we have a little bit of efficiency just for convenience, solely for convenience, right? Some people don't mind casting. I think it's really annoying, but it also affects our efficiency, right? Which will lead me into fleeting expertise. You're probably wondering why I don't have streamline in this slot, right? A lot of people would, in their videos, they'd put streamline here and then they'd use a 1D ranked fleeting expertise, 1 less than max, right? I don't need to do that because if you see, this is grayed out. Why is this grayed out, may you ask? We're gonna take you back to the past of the olden days. Back in my day, we had arcane helmets. You just got these by doing alerts. Arcane helmet allows us to have extra efficiency with a reduction of armor. Fuck the reduction of armor, I don't give a shit about that. But this allows us to reach max, absolute max ability efficiency cap. So it is very important. Actually, while we're at the screen, just a recommendation, use black as your offset color here. as your energy color and have a little light color here so that when you are in the bubble, look, I can see the outlines of it, so I can tell exactly what I'm covering, which could be useful for defense missions, but we're not there yet. We're not there yet. As you can see, the slow cast speed, that's why I recommended cast speed. So let's get back into it. Brief respite, it's brief respite. If you need an explanation for this, please just fuck off and go play another build. This is not the build for you, right? You can swap out brief respite for whatever you want, right? I like it for convenience. I'm using brief respite and rolling guard, so I don't only have to rely on assimilate, which is the main component of this build, being in the bubble, right? That's why we're dash attacking, right? That's why we're using these mods to dash around the map for a movement ability, because assimilate makes you very slow. But I don't like to only be in assimilate, hence the rolling guard. Brief respite allow us to be outside of the bubble and not be completely naked, give us some convenience, right? So I'd say that's the long and short of it, right? I'm not going to explain to you every single nuance of Nyx. She's pretty self-explanatory. She makes things armor strip, she makes things shoot at each other, she has a bubble, and we have Lycat's Hunt, right? So now let's do a little bit of demo. Oh, wait, there's one more thing that I forgot to mention to you, right? So I do think that she has a bug that's affecting her right now, and it's because of Arcane Avenger. You're probably wondering yourself, why are you using Arcane Avenger as opposed to, I don't know, any other Arcane, right? So let me show you firsthand why I'm using Arcane Avenger, right? So let me back out of this fucking menu. It's getting stuck. So we're going to turn off pause AI. I'm just going to top myself off on some energy here. So, as you can see, look, top of the screen, Arcane Avenger is proccing despite the fact that we're not taking any damage at all. I'm not taking any damage at all, but Arcane Avenger is still proccing. So, being in the bubble, we can proc Arcane Avenger and still get beefster damage. Of course, you know, you might not have Arcane Avenger, so use whatever you want, but I would really highly suggest you use Arcane Avenger because it is just so convenient. Now, I'm going to show you a little demo of why we're using the dash around. See, as you can tell, she has a problem with moving around the map with bubble Nyx. It's very slow, right? You're relying on your roll, which is not always the most optimal. But when I can teleport around the map, I can get up ledges. I can go across the map. I can do whatever I want, right? I can do anything, especially when you're spreading chaos, you're full stripping stuff. It's super convenient. You're always guaranteed to get the kill on it. So you're constantly, look at my energy. My energy, I get that this is a test room, right? A lot of people think that nothing you do in test room matters because they're not completely the same as Steel Path. But let me tell you, you're not going to have energy problems if this build is built correctly for you. I pretty much always stay topped off. The only time I'm not topped off is when I fuck up. Sometimes I fuck up, I'm not paying attention, I'm out of my bubble, I'm rolling around, I'm casting stuff so that I get my energy and my shields back through brief respite, and then I make a mistake. That's it, right? So now that I've pretty much explained to you everything about the build itself, I'm going to take it into an actual mission. So in 3, 2, 1. All right, we've loaded into a mission. There's really not too much to go over. I showed you the build, you know the build. So let me kind of explain some of the nuances, I guess you could say. So why would you use Lycat's Hunt over, say, Citrine's Helmet ability? So there's several reasons to that. It's not thrown on willy-nilly. I do have Citrine's new ability available to be helmet on and stuff, but I'm doing it for a specific reason, as I said. So Lycat's Hunt, we don't have to worry about range. Right away, that's a big thing, right? Not having to worry about range. Additionally, we can keep the timer down to forever. Like, see, bottom of the screen right now, it's a 54 seconds because our Eek and Septum Explantificil Tenet Archoplasmor, this puppy, I have a video about it on my channel, is applying a lot of different statuses, right? It's applying at least 5 statuses per shot, usually, generally. So, because of that, we don't really have to worry about range. We have way more range than, even if we stacked range on her and got her overextended and stretch, the Citrine's ability would only be like 30 meters or so. So we're able to get 30 meters with Lycat's Hunt using guns and using the Amar Dagger mod. So we don't really have to worry about that stat. So therefore, despite the fact Citrine's new ability seems very good, applies a slash dot proc thing, and on top of that, it also gives you some orbs. This gives us more orbs for less investment. We can basically dump a stat and not really worry about it as much. So that's kind of the long and short of it. Additionally, I would consider this the best archetype of a Nyx build. When I say archetype, I mean assimilate Nyx, I feel like is the premier way to play her. Some people don't think it's very fun. I like having my safe space decimation bubble. I think it's a fun chill build. Now, I normally like builds that are kind of intensive, right? Takes a lot of pieces to get cranking, but sometimes you need to relax. And this build does have a lot of mechanics that are working together, but a lot of them are passive, right? A lot of them are the mods and the build. So it's not exactly like it's just a very simple brain dead build. because you've invested a lot into it to make it brain dead. So I feel like it's earned its ability to be brain dead. Whereas some frames like Wukong, before the nerf and what have you, like some of these frames are just so brain dead I can't justify them at all. Whereas this frame, I feel like it's justified, right? I invested heavily into her. She's not a typical frame you always see. She's very powerful, but you could consider swapping out Rolling Guard. As you see, a level cap, you're pretty much always going to be in your bubble, but like I said, I like to be mobile. I think she's pretty fast in a fluid frame, so I use Brief Respite and Rolling Guard, even though they might not be on paper the single most optimal things. For my play style, being able to have that comfiness, that convenience of being able to leave the bubble and not be completely like free is something to be noted, and that's why I'm using it. Another reason is because I personally don't see the use in doing that to her. As I said earlier, there's 52 frames. If you really want a nuke frame, just play a nuke frame. You don't have to make every frame a nuke frame. I think that she is best as the safe space decimator, the safe space killer, right? The hunting safe space, I think is what I called her. So, ooh, almost got caught there, but we had Rolling Guard and we have all of our stuff. So, this is a great build particularly for liches. Say you're having trouble with a lich, this particularly shines with that. Yes, very much shines, especially because Arcane Avenger is proccing even when you're in your bubble, so they can shoot and shoot and shoot at you, and it doesn't matter. You're very much able to get a huge buff from it and take advantage of the situation and debuff them. On top of debuffing them, de-armor them, which is huge, and make them forget about you, essentially. So I think that Nyx is very underrated, and I think it's because a lot of people don't understand how to play her. A lot of people don't have access to arcane helmets and god roll ribbons and, you know, stuff like that. But this is my build showcase. If you want to have a crappy, unoptimized build and you don't want to use ribbons, go for it. Have your crappy, unoptimized build without ribbons. That being said, I am open to any sort of critiques or suggestions on my build, but chances are I'm not going to pay attention to them. Well, I'll pay attention to them, but chances are I won't do them, I should say, because I have put a lot of time into this build. Nothing's thrown into it willy-nilly. Chances are, I could be wrong, obviously. Chances are, though, I've thought of what you're suggesting, and there's a reason I'm not doing it. But like I said, I am very open to any sort of critiques, but the second you insult my build or say something rude, I completely lose all interest in your critique, so just make sure they're polite. I'm not offering some sort of cucked SJW squad where everybody has to be super polite, but if you want me to understand your critique or your, you know, maybe try this, maybe try that, it would help if you're polite in the way you deliver said information. So yeah, if you care at all, then maybe you just don't care. That's cool, man. But I don't know how. Imagine getting down as Octavia. That's embarrassing. We're gonna go over here and try and help them, but we're pretty much carrying with this build. We can do anything we want with this build. It isn't the most thought-provoking build once you're actually playing, but because we have the backups, like I said, we have Rolling Guard and what have you, it makes it a lot more fluid. I think the fluidity is very important to making a good Warframe build. Sure, you can build a build on paper that is absolute god roll, you know, like super best build ever on paper, right? But that might not be fun. Like technically on paper, if you were to remove Rolling Guard and you were to remove Brief Respite and you put something in its place, technically you might have a higher DPS output. You might be able to do more damage, but then you'd have to stay in your bubble more. I like having a little bit more freedom in my particular build. Maybe you don't. That's okay. That's totally okay. Play the build your way, or maybe suggest I completely change who I am as a person. This is who I am as a person. Not really, but hopefully live streams should hopefully be coming soon. But I have a chronic condition. I have several symptoms and multiple scleroses, so I've got a lot of deficits in my body. So you see, I have several things. Like I said, I have terminal deep vein thrombosis, and I have absolutely horrific, you wouldn't believe the horrifying, disgusting, deep-seated horrendousness that is my terminal ugliness. So we will be doing live streams soon, but gotta throw that together. Hello, kitty cat. Sorry if you hear noises. I have a very rambunctious kitty cat who likes running in and out of my lap and running all over my room and whatnot. So that is part of what I'm taking into account when I'm setting up my studio or what have you, because I don't know if I want kitty cats running around the background. I don't know if I want people to see that, but we'll see. But coming soon, hopefully very soon. I was also hoping to do a little bit of a channel update since, like I said, we've explained the build. All the build is fully explained. Everything's, you're watching the build. I explained it into the test room. We've got it, right? So hopefully soon I'm going to be doing some unboxings, not of like stupid, crappy shit unrelated. Hopefully I'll be getting the call figurine, or statue I should say. Fuck figurines, those are for little boys, little kids. Fuck that shit. We're big grown men here. So I should have gotten the call statue recently, but they had a delay on it. Isn't that always nice when you order something and there's a big delay on it? So it's got me kind of worried, I'm not going to lie with you, because not only there's a call figure delayed, I haven't gotten my Ivara statue that I ordered from the DE marketplace either. So, I don't know, we did get one email saying they've been delayed, and they'll try to be more open to us about like what's going on, but I haven't really heard much, so I don't know if, like, it just makes me worried that Deviri's delayed, my packages are being delayed. I hope they come out eventually one day. I would like all the stuff I ordered. It would be nice to get the things I paid for, but in the meantime, I'm going to have to log on to, I'm going to dust off my Instagram account. I'm going to personally find DE Rebecca's account on DE Reb. I think her name is on Instagram, and I'm going to personally send her a message of just the worst kind. I'm going to absolutely scream at her as hard as I can because my package has been delayed. You know, something she probably has nothing to deal with. I'm going to scream at her and make sure she knows. Sarcasm. Sarcasm. Don't be screaming at DE Reb for stupid shit. But like I said, it is a little bit of a worrisome considering all the, statues are being delayed on top of Deviri. I'm one who, I don't mind if a game's delayed. It doesn't bother me. I really don't mind at all because I'd rather a delayed game that's good than something that's going to frustrate me and make me really mad and leave a bad taste in my mouth, like some semen, when I play it. So I personally, like I said, I'm not bothered by it. It doesn't bother me that we got a delay. A lot of people are fucking furious. They hate it. I don't see why. Like I said, would you rather something super buggy or would you rather wait a little bit? Let's wait a little bit, right? But it does make me a little worried, I'm not gonna lie to you, because of, like I said, the statues and whatnot. But I am content with the content we've been getting. We've been getting really good content, right? We've been getting really good arcanes, decent missions and whatnot. I am disappointed with the difficulty of the new mission, but we're getting really cool content, really good updates. But people are comparing this game to AAA studio game dev updates, and I don't think that's fair, but we already talked about that in another video. So if you want to hear me rant about that, just watch my last Rhino build. We got a little bit of a rant of game studios and setting your expectations and understanding that some things aren't made for you, right? Some things aren't made for you. Maybe this frame isn't for you. It doesn't mean that you shouldn't try it, but maybe you'll like it, but it is what it is. So we're not going to talk about that anymore, but I do have to talk about if you really want to support the channel, if you want to support what I do, you want to kiss me on the mouth, you want to support my premarital hand-holding and kissing compilations, the only way that you can do that is to start looking into this this Ohio train rail thing. It's a little suspicious that major farmlands are being destroyed right before our eyes, on top of there's a global war basically going on, a proxy war going on with Ukraine, which is a massive grain supplier. Ukraine is. It's the first stop on China's superhighway through the European continent and Africa. First stop, so that's kind of a big thing since China exports a lot of its food resources now. So if a lot of people think that this war is only between Ukraine and Russia, and that Russia's completely unprovoked attacking them, let's get a little schizo-psycho, a little bit nutty mode over here and think about it for a second. China's involved because China is having a big grain shortage problem, and Ukraine is a big supplier of their grain, first stop on their superhighway. So China is now involved in this proxy war too. As well with Ukraine is allied with not only Israel, but Israel is allied with Russia. So there's a conflict of interest there, and then we're sending all these arms over there. So there's a big, proxy war going over there, and a part of it is because of food and whatnot, the resources, right? It's like a Fallout 3 resource war intro for the fucking game. And on top of that, you have Germany, which is having widespread protests for foods. The farmers are being forced to shut down their operation and whatnot because of emissions, which is funny because, yeah, I think the environment is a very important thing that we should all be more conscious of. Everyone should be more conscious of it, right? But at the same time, we have to fucking live. If we're all dead, we can't be conscious of the environment, and I feel like that's the route we're going to. So there's a massive food shortage problem. People like Bill Gates are buying up all the farms. He has like 80% of farms or something like that. Don't count on me for the exact numbers. Look it up yourself. Don't trust me. This is all parody, right? This is completely wacko, nutso, schizo. We're joking. This is a big joke. Haha. Nothing I'm saying has any validity at all. This is all complete false. This is complete just a joke, right? It's a funny haha gafoo. We're trailing down this line. So Bill Gates is buying all these farmlands. We're having a massive deficit of farmlands. On top of that, they're trying to get us to eat bugs. These bugs they're trying to get us to eat, part of the reason they want us to eat bugs is because you could just build bugs in a factory. You could feed them garbage and the bugs will grow. They will live off of literal garbage. So we can have microplastic bugs that are fed garbage and microplastics to dissolve the microplastics or the plastics in general. And instead of having lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of farmland, we can have like 5 buildings, you know, of just these bug factories, these factory bug farms, right? So it could save a lot of space, and then they could use that land for commercial projects. They could put buildings there. They could put car dealerships. Think of all the car dealerships we could have there, right? Instead of farmlands, if we had millions and millions of car dealerships, that would be sick. Maybe we could have like 7 more banks there, maybe McDonald's or 5. That would be sick. That would be so fucking cool. And I think that the only way you can support my channel and let me know that you enjoy this in any way, shape, or form, it's not by commenting and subscribing or any of that stupid dorky geeky shit. It's by going on the Googs. Because, you know, Google wouldn't lie to you, right? Google wouldn't manipulate its search results. Google wouldn't purposely put stuff ahead of other things and not show you certain things. So Google's a very trustworthy source. So start looking into that, because pretty soon we're going to be eating bugs. Keep a lookout on your food, because your food is it's just going to be put in there, right? A lot of what we're eating here in America is illegal in other countries because it's a straight up carcinogen. A lot of these number 6 dyes and what have you, they're pure carcinogens that will kill you and that are killing you. They're probably dying right now and you don't even realize it. So they're gonna start slowly seeping in bugs as they did with GMOs, and you're not even gonna know about it. You're not gonna know anything about it. So get ready, because if you thought these reports of microplastics being in most Americans' bodies were bad now, it's gonna get way worse, especially since they're burning microplastics because of a train derailment, multiple train derailments, might I add, multiple train derailments that were called out in 2019 when there was a wax train that was derailed. It was burnt candle wax or some shit like that, and they said there was people who were saying at the time, you know, documented on TV, Fox, CNN, all the big medias were saying, you know, if this is going to happen again, if nothing changes, we're lucky now that it was a simple wax train, but imagine if it was something bad. Well, guess what? Something bad did happen, and it's almost like that was so televised and so brought out to the public, so it would be like, oh yeah, of course, 1 + 2 = 3. Obviously this was called out a while ago, so obviously it was just an incident, because things haven't changed, right? Things haven't changed with the new administration. They're not good for the environment like they promised they would be. They're no better than Trump for the environment, right? We all know this. Even if you love Biden and you think he was going to be great, he has not been holding up to his promises for environmental awareness, right? Signing into the climate accord has done nothing for our environment, right? Signing into the climate accord was just secretly a way for us to shell out more money to third world countries. I don't know if you realize this, if you read the actual, I think it's a 30-page document for the climate accord, whatever it is, but there's a lot of seedy shit in it. It's not all sunshines and raisins. But on top of that, why would we be giving money to other countries for environmental initiatives through the Paris Climate Accord when our EPA was already doing that? Our EPA was already giving money from American taxpayer monies to other countries. For example, I think it was in 2014, we gave about $300,000 to Mexico, not like America, New Mexico, like Mexico, not our country, for quote-unquote environmental initiatives. It'd be one thing, right, if we're giving money to super polluted countries that maybe we caused the pollution, maybe we had some sort of influence, or maybe it's just the most polluted places in the world, like Ogbog Beloshi, another place that's on the Paris Climate Accord but has not gotten any better at all because it's a scam. So all these things are combining to drain, where us as Americans are being drained as our money. We're being sold that, yes, this is a good thing, right? We want to help the environment. Don't you want to help the EPA? Don't you want to help the environment? Let's put money into this funding. All right, that'd be very cool, but we're not getting any receipts back. This money is going out the door, and we're just getting, you know, it went out for my environmental initiatives. What do you hate the environment? It went to environmental initiatives. So ask questions, because these people are lying to us. It's good intention, right? Hell, the road to hell is paved with good intentions, and that's what's going on right now. We are being sold a lie, where the government is saying we're going to help the environment by joining the Paris Climate Accord, by dumping more money into the EPA. But the fact of the matter is the EPA is grossly mismanaging their funds. I didn't agree with a lot of things Trump did. I think that most people could say that, even staunch Trump supporters. There's got to be something that Trump did that you didn't support. But what he was correct about, which I I'm shocked to say he was correct about something about the environment, and it's more specifically the EPA. The EPA was massively mismanaging funds. I don't know if you know this, but a lot of the higher-ups in the EPA, not even the higher-ups like managers and whatnot, they were getting $4,000 allowances for chairs, for not specifically for chairs, but for furniture for each person. That's a gross mismanagement of funds. They should be sitting on $20 steel chairs when you're working for the government, right? It's a government job. Save money so that it can go to actual good sources like homeless people and actual like things that matter, right? I know the environment matters, but going into your office chair does not matter. So Trump was right in the fact that these three-letter organizations like the FBI, the CIA, the EPA, they are grossly mismanaging the U.S. taxpayer money that has gone to them. So if they're forced to cut back, right? If they're forced to cut back, then they're forced to re-look at where their money is going and potentially fix that. So I do think that if you want to support the channel, the only thing you can really do is start looking into this stuff and start questioning it, because I think a lot of people they're sold by their echo chamber, right? Say you like Fox News or say you like CNN, right? You may go say, like, some people like their CNN, or we'll say Fox. Some people like their Fox News, right? They like Fox News and they consider themselves open-minded, they consider themselves unbiased. Then they'll go and watch CNN. And then they'll just immediately, unconscious bias, they'll be hating everything they see and not questioning it at all. If you aren't questioning every source of media, then you're being completely biased and you don't realize it. You're being unconscious bias or whatever the fuck the term is. So make sure that whether it's your favorite news reporter ever, say you only get your news from trusted news sources such as Pew News, make sure you're asking questions, even if it's not in the comment sections or in a video response. Make sure you're asking yourself in your head the question of, are they lying to me? Are they being backed by big oil? Is the reason this person is throwing oil at a Van Gogh painting because some oil baroness paid this protester to do that? Are these protests completely fake? Are these manufactured outrages? Are these scams? Because I think a lot of times these days too, people are so dismissive. You start to bring up any sort of conspiracy theories, and people are so gung-ho, even though they hate the government. They're like, the government would never do that. The government would never kill its own people. The government would kill its own people, as it has done many times before. Look up American atrocities. Go on Google, turn off the safe search filter, and just start looking up gore, right? Go look up the time about how the U.S. government gave a whole town basically syphilis and promised them that it was medical attention. They're getting free medical aid for funsies, right? Reparations, perhaps it was, because it was majorly African Americans. So they lied to them and gave them all syphilis. What about the time where we killed off the people who were on the land before us by giving them smallpox blankets? What about the time in 1985 when we bombed a Philadelphia neighborhood? What about the time in Waco where I think it was 14 kids were set on fire? It's crazy that the government has perpetrated, our government, the U.S. government, has perpetrated some massive horrors onto its own very people. And when you question if it's doing that now, you're a conspiracy theorist. You're absolutely nutty. It's completely dismissed. So, like I said, this is all complete parody. The U.S. government would never attack its own people. I don't ever think that the U.S. government would purposely derail extremely dangerous trains and then set them on fire in an effort to completely force people out of specific territories so that they are no longer acrid and beautiful farmlands, and that they are now desolate, barren war zones that are only suitable for bug factories. I don't think the U.S. government would ever do that. I think the U.S. government loves you. I think they have their best interest at heart, and I don't think that they're putting stuff in the cereal to make it get soggy faster. I really don't think that's a real thing. If you really honestly thought to yourself that the U.S. government is specifically putting stuff into your breakfast cereal so that it gets soggy faster when only slightly exposed to milk, you're lost. There's no hope for you. I really think you should just lock yourself into the loony bin now, because clearly you haven't figured things out. The U.S. government loves you, and they're not putting stuff into their cereal to make it so that it gets soggy faster. Now, I myself love soggy water. I could drink tap water all day. I don't like using mouthwash. I do it, but why would we not want mouthwash in the water? Right? I don't understand why you wouldn't want mouthwash in the water, why you wouldn't want chlorine in the water. I personally think that it's great to drink chlorine in the pool when you're swimming, so why not have it in the water supply? I think that these are all fantastic things, and the U.S. government loves us, and I think that for more evidence of why the U.S. government loves it, look at all the freedoms we have. A lot of our foods are illegal in other countries, but no, we get high starch, high corn syrup, death foods that have microplastics in them, and then it will soon have bugs. So like you said, you got it all figured out. You're watching an endgame Knicks build. You obviously have the keys to the world. You've got all the puzzle pieces, and you have them glued together, right? You know everything. So I think that you know, and I know, and the guy behind you, and the figments of my imagination, we all know that the US government loves us, and they have our best interests at heart, and that signing these declarations to help the environment, there's nothing seedy thrown into these book long, these short story long articles, right? It's as simple as you read the title of the Facebook article. The Facebook article says the climate accord is great for the environment. That's correct. That's correct. I hope you know that Facebook has very strong false news policies, right? False news is illegal to be shared. It would never be shared. It's not going to be shared on Facebook. It'll be deleted instantly if it's fake news. And I think we can trust I think we can trust Facebook, right? I think we can trust Twitter too. Look at Twitter. They're on court. They're going to trial right now for working with the FBI to alter election results. They're completely trustworthy. These big power organizations would never do anything to, derail an election or influence election. We would never influence other elections. Please, by all means, don't even waste your time looking up how the US government has influenced other elections for centuries or decades or what have you, throughout many other countries, not even just our own, because I honestly, you're just going to find conspiracy theories. You're not going to find any valid information. It's going to be all nutso talk. But I do really like this map. I think a lot of people aren't playing the conjunction survival anymore because there's the new thing, right? I think that this is a very nice level. I think that the spawns are good. I feel like it's constant action. I feel like this is one of the better things the DE has done. So I'm a little bit biased when I say that I like the newer content we're getting. But in the same respect, like I said last video, like I said earlier, some content's not made for you. And I do hope that Deviri comes soon. I have some worries. I have some speculation that they're having some trouble perhaps with some bugs. But the leaks we have you seen the leaks? Holy shit, these leaks are fantastic. So I guess we should kind of stop talking about Deviri and things to come and kind of focus a little bit more on the build. As you can see, the nuances of the build, I pretty much don't have to think, as you can tell, while I'm using this. I can just joke around and talk about these blatantly false conspiracy theories that have no validity and no factual evidence in the world. Everything you've just heard me say is a complete parody. There's no validity to anything I said at all. They're definitely not putting harmful chemicals in the toothpaste, and they're not putting stuff in the cereal that makes it get soggy faster. That's completely fake. The US government loves you. So I really think that a lot of people, when they say that Nyx is a F-tier frames, they say people actually say she's bad. I don't understand. Like, you can see how brainless I'm being. I'm not using this build optimally. I'm not constantly cycling my shit. We're doing a 3-man team. I have 2 plebs that are getting down. I don't know how Octavia's getting down. Maybe she had her thumb up her ass or something, but it is a brainless but fun build, which it's hard to find brainless but fun builds sometimes, at least on frames like this. Like, you can get a Wukong build that's brainless, but I wouldn't consider that fun. I consider this type of build fun. So maybe, let me know. Do you think that this build is fun? Have you used an Assimilate Nyx? I don't expect you to have used this specific build, but I know I'm not the only one who's used an Assimilate Nyx before, right? A lot of content creators have covered Assimilate Nyxes, but I've never seen them use Like Hath Hun or this particular combination of mods, which is hence why I'm bringing it to you today. I go to great effort to hopefully never bring you a build that someone else has brought to you, because it wouldn't even be copying, right? There's a big problem in the Warframe community where people think everyone's copying their build because they saw one other person with a similar build, but there's a lot of people can fall into the same results, right? If something's out for a while enough, multiple people discovered in Elden Ring that the bleed builds were OP insane, right? It didn't take YouTube videos for you to figure that out, or the Moonlight Katana or whatever the fuck it was. It took you playing for 10 minutes and using that weapon to understand, wow, this is really overpowered, right? Multiple people can come to the same conclusions, so I really hope that I never come out with a build that's exactly identical to someone else's, but at the same point, I don't want to give you a build that's not worth your time. I think that this build is very much worth your time. If you consider yourself a Nyx enjoyer, if you consider yourself an Assimilate enjoyer, I would highly suggest that you give this build a try, because it is very fun. I don't know, most people wouldn't consider Nyx fun, but like I said, to each their own, right? So as you can see, we can kind of deal with everything. These guys are kind of the biggest trouble, right? You gotta watch, if your bubble gets popped, you could be in trouble sometimes, but we have Rolling Guard, we have Brief Respite to give us a little bit of wiggle room, so it's very, very fun to use this build in my humble opinion. But let me know what you guys think, like I said, or don't. It's even better if you don't, and you just go and Google all that shit I told you not to Google, right? So we're not going to be in this mission too much longer. I don't want this to be a 1,000,000-hour long video, but I would like to kind of tip my toes into doing kind of live stream style content, because you got to start somewhere, right? So this is my start, I guess you could say. But Limbo video will be coming soon. Hard at work on that. That's going to be a highly edited video. That's not going to be a long take like this, where I do a free-form thought type video. That's going to be highly edited, and hopefully will come out soon. Part of it is these updates. I didn't want to release build guide videos knowing there's the citrine update is coming, because what if I post a video and then 3 days later there's an objectively much better combination, or the augments that came out. I was worried that the augments might massively change balance in the game. They kind of did in some aspects. The Mesmer skin updated, that Mesmer skin augment is insane, but that's not going to affect most other builds. It's just going to affect Revenant, right? So I'm very happy that some of my builds are not completely invalidated by the new update, because that's one thing that happens in Warframe a lot, right? A new update can completely invalidate your previous build. I love that. A lot of people hate that. A lot of people say that they stopped playing the game because they had to constantly come up with new builds. I think I like it. It keeps me on my toes. I like being on my toes. I like when a game makes me think a little bit. I'm sick and tired of every game's a gacha game. Every game's a brain dead mobile game. You can consider this a brain dead game, right? This is my brain dead build. But a lot of thought went into this, right? So that's why it's brain dead, is because thought went into it. You can't just throw anything on Nyx and have the same performance, right? But yeah, I guess that's it. Like I said, I do very much enjoy this level. I hope we get more things like this Conjunction Survival, more things like Latrine's Last Wish, but hopefully more difficult. I want something where I can play it for 10 minutes, have a little bit of a ramp up, so I can, like this was my first match of the day, right? I like the fact when you're going for level cap, you have that brief ramp up. Well, not brief, it's a couple hours long, right? But you have a ramp up of, for a while, it's like, oh, my shields went down, I took a couple hits, I didn't die, right? For a little while. And then once you start hitting 400, 500s, it's like that's not going to happen anymore. You have to be on your toes. So I do like when missions have some sort of ramp up where you have to, it gives you time to stretch, right? It's your stretch round. And then it starts getting into the, oh shit. I think that we need more content like that, where we're able to access Steel Path, and get Steel Path level cap, I should say, very much sooner, because that would also bring back some of the old styles of Warframe. Back in the day, in the olden Warframe, you were very much relying on your teammates. Hey, we need the Trinity to cast. You got to make sure if you see someone's health going low, you cast your 4, because it'll instant heal us and make us invincible. We need your energy supply so that the speedva can keep speeding everything. The combinations were extremely important, but now every frame can do everything, so the combinations are important. You could argue that even if you allowed us to get to level cap very easily, the combinations would not matter at all anyway, because at this point in the game, as you could probably tell now, we're all kind of just doing our own thing, right? We're not sitting in a corner, we're not sitting in one room doing the vortex strats to get to level cap or what have you. But I do think that there should be some sort of content like that makes you work more as a team. I do think the Archon hunts were a good start to getting us to work more as a team, but in the same respect, when I get to the final stage of the Archon hunt, when it's kill the Archon, I'm pretty much doing that by myself, because I know these plebs don't understand the damage types or whatever of the Archon, so they will actively make it harder than if I did it solo. So it's a double-edged sword, right? You could risk making it more annoying to play with friends, even though or people with other frame combinations, even though it's designed to be built and played with other frames. So it is something that is I can only imagine it's a balancing nightmare that the devs have to do a tightrope walk over. But hopefully they can continue pumping out solid content like this. I really like this Conjunction Survival. I think that this was a good, positive update for the game, that can always come back to this, right? I will very frequently come back to this mission and just do long missions of this, and I think that this content was made for me. I don't think this content was made for most people. So it's nice to say that I felt like the devs were listening to me and made something to me, instead of only focusing on what the masses want. So that's always nice to see when devs are prioritizing the smaller parts of their community, perhaps. But maybe it was just luck, right? Maybe they were just lazy and they just had to reskin and throw this out. But whatever it is, I'm happy that we have this sort of content. Now, we're getting to the end of it. Pretty soon I'm going to leave this. The fun we've been having, yes. I know we've been having a lot of fun talking, but let me know what you think of freeform content, right? Do you want build videos that are just 7 minutes in the test room and showing me me showing you how the builds are put together, showing you it working in the test room, and then that's kind of it? Or would you prefer me showing you on missions like this? Part of it is, when I show you on missions like this, do you want only 20 minutes, or do you want me to actually go on a longer mission? Because I feel like a lot of times you get to a point where I've explained the build inside and out to you, right? The build has been explained inside and out, and there's not anything else I can say. What do you want me to just put silent gameplay up? I think that's so boring. You could see silent gameplay on any other channel. This is my channel. I like to use this as kind of a record of my past. So I would be interested in your opinions, though, despite this being for me and ultimately for me, and that it shouldn't matter what your opinion is. I do ultimately care about your opinion, though, because at the end of the day, your opinion is going to get me more views, and I need to whore out for the views and the clicks, baby. Oh, the endorphin rush. You don't know what it's like when you wake up and you see 3 likes. Oh, fuck. When I see those 3 likes, oh, been a gosh. But I would like to do live streams, so this is kind of me dipping my toe, like I've said 5,000 times already. So, like I said, maybe you hate me, maybe you don't like this content. I would be very much interested in a polite, just keep it polite, keep it polite, and let me know if you would prefer just a 10-minute video explaining the build, showing it like really quick, or if you would prefer kind of a build and talking video. I see a lot of content creators, they will show the build, and then they'll just do a silent half-hour, like them doing a run mission, they'll just let it play. When it comes to the just let it play part, I tune out, let's watch something else. Let's get to the next video. I don't see what's any point in that. I would, however, watch Brozymes that last half hour of his bullshit if he continued talking, right? If he continued talking and not just showing it, I would continue watching it instead of tuning out, right? Like, I can understand, I've been playing this game long enough where I can see the mods, I can see a little demo in the tutorial and know, like, all right, I have a pretty good idea what this is going to be like end game. But at the same time, I don't, I feel like a lot of people compare everything to, oh, it has to be level cap, it has to be level cap. I feel like I said, it's so difficult to get, it's not difficult to get things to level cap, it's difficult to get the time to do that. You either have to do disruption, which I don't really like doing disruption because then I have to use specific weapons where I can't have as much fun, which is always big, important to me. I like having fun. And on top of that, it takes a while, right? You can have lag issues, you got to get a team together, I would imagine, or you got to do it solo. I don't like doing things together solo, because with solo, I have to be very much focused. I can't as much just chit-chat and talk. I have seen some other content creators where they will record the level cap and then go in and do the dialogue afterwards, but honestly, I feel like it's so boring because they're not really adding anything. They're just like, yeah, here I was killing the guys and I had a little bit of trouble and then I swapped to this weapon and did that. I'm not getting anything from that. That's not enjoyable to me, right? I don't think that that's enjoyable to you either. I think that a lot of Warframe creators or Warframe enjoyers that are seeking out content, they want to see, this is my humble opinion, by the way, this isn't fact, but I believe that they want to see the build, they want to see it explained, and that they also want a personality. They want to see the person and the mentality behind the build video. I think that that's a big reason that Gaz is successful and Nightmare Frame is successful, because people watch their build video, right? And then they tune in for the rant video. A lot of the popular videos that Gaz does and Nightmare Frame are popular because they're just ranting about, like, oh my god, devs did this, devs did that, what have you, cry, cry, cry. They nerfed Kuva drops, right? The devs want you to play something else. They nerfed Kuva drops. How could they possibly do this? And that's kind of why I'm experimenting with this. I think that those creators, no shade at them, but actually a lot of shade at them. I think that they cut up their game around, right? I have no subscribers. This isn't my job. I'm not getting paid for this, obviously. These people are literally getting fucking paid for this. I don't know if it's their full-time job when they have a couple 100,000 subscribers and they have members and Patreons and whatnot. I know they're making a good amount of money. They could probably make a living off just their fucking a meager living, I guess you could say, off just their their Warframe content. But considering they're getting paid for it, I think that their content's lacking, and hopefully that maybe my content is lacking, but I'm not getting paid for it, so that's my excuse. But I would like to hear if you like this freeform chill kind of content, where I'm just talking to you guys as opposed to just only going over build, because like I said, at a certain point you run out. Like, I'm sure you want to keep seeing gameplay of it. You could always mute me, right? You could mute me and just watch the gameplay if that were going to happen, right? I think a lot of people are listening to music in the background while they're watching this. A lot of people, when they're watching content creators, they're watching the music and they're there for the guffaws and their personality and whatnot. So maybe I'm completely wrong. Maybe you guys just want the solo gameplay, but I don't think that's the way it is. But like I said, maybe I'm completely wrong about that and I don't know what I'm talking about, and everything in this entire video has been nothing but parody. But let's see how far we can take it with these guys. I'm surprised that these teammates kind of pulled through. I thought they were going to be completely dead weight, which my build could probably pull for them. I could probably, you know, make up for them being completely dead weight, but it's not fun to be doing that, honestly. I don't like when everything's resting on my shoulders. which oftentimes it is, because these days I feel like people are drinking the toxic tap water that's unfiltered, and they're drinking lots of Pepto-Bismol, what have you. They're getting real peptoed up, but it is what it is. We can't make fun of them too much, because sometimes we get down too, right? We all get down, we all have our moments. Maybe they had a bad day, they just want to have fun on Warframe, and they have someone like me criticizing them in a YouTube video. Rest assured, they can't hear me in this match right now, so I don't give a fuck about talking about them. They'll never see this video. My 3 viewers. I love my 3 viewers. But yeah, I think we should probably get the daddling out of here. It has been fun, but I think at a certain point you gotta call it, right? I really should be doing more citrine stuff so I can get back to work on my limbo guide, because I need a few arcanes. I gotta test some stuff before I don't want to publish a limbo any build guide that I don't feel like is mostly optimal. Sure, there could always be a few changes, but I like things to at least be very, very, very close to being peak optimal, because that way you guys have something to start with. You can start with my build and get to that super optimal point. So like I said, I think that this build is super fully optimized. I think this is 100% optimized, aside from a couple extra archon shards. But regardless of if this build is 1000% optimized, you at least have a build that you can be secure in. If you have the means to make this exact build, you can rest assured you will have a pleasant time using it, right? It's not going to be a false salesman video where you're told a build is good and then you bring it into a mission, it's trash. I can personally guarantee you that this build is suitable for almost all styles of content, as you just saw, right? So if you would like to support the channel, as I said multiple times in this video, the only way you could do that is to ask questions and to go look up some of these atrocities that the US government is possibly purposely perpetrating onto us right now. It's all parody. We're joking, right? We're all joking, obviously. And to get hyped for Deviri. Get hyped. Get on that. Oh, get on that post haste.